Alrighty, welcome back. Another Wisco Fanatics Tuesday. We are discussing a Green Bay Packers loss, unfortunately, but you're probably going to find at least a little bit better commentary here than you might in other places where they're going to freak out and throw things and do a bunch of swearing and condemning and fire everybody and trade everybody. And I don't think Love's the guy. Literally, I heard examples of that, but we'll keep it calm for the most part, at least, except for maybe one segment of one phase of the game. We'll see, but no Simon this week, so we covered for him in our notes, and then Jake will be joining us shortly. But we're gonna hit the intro and we're gonna get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so as I said, unfortunately we're discussing a loss, but normally we like to do the bad news first and the good news second. With this, we always start with defense, so we get to do the good things first, and then we'll get to the bad stuff later. But just starting with the Packers defensive line, Rashawn Gary was really good. Lucas Van Ness was really good. Brooks had his moments. I want to give Kingsley Enagbare some credit. He did a really good job setting the edge on a McDuffie tackle for loss. That was a good job. Kingsley Enagbare did end up with the highest run grade per PFF, or defensive grade, not run grade, defensive grade, albeit in only 15 snaps. I have to give him a little bit of credit. I do think he was kind of a roster bubble guy. But that was one of the things that I've been wanting to see from him for like 2.5 years now. So it was good to see Kingsley Enagbare setting a good edge. Lucas Van Ness was the Packers' second highest graded defender in 30 snaps, and then Micah Parsons, number 3. Despite having 2 penalties, he does still open things up for others. You can find plenty of film during the game where Parsons is being double and even triple teamed, just like you can for Myles Garrett. Of the 24 pressures that the Packers had, 22 of them came from the defensive line. 6 of them came from Lucas Van Ness, which is great to see. 5 by Micah Parsons and 4 by Rashawn Gary, who had both of the Packers' sacks this week. So, Bryant, I'll let you jump into the linebackers and tackling.
Yeah, I thought Quay Walker probably it played as easily his best game of the year and probably one of his top 5 games as a Packer. Had 14 tackles. He was just kind of everywhere. I remember like halfway through the game, I think I messaged you guys in the group chat. I was like, I can't believe that Cooper doesn't have any stats. So Quay Walker played a great game. I thought Cooper didn't play as good of a game, but he also had 12 pass rushing snaps. So they were sending him on more blitz and stuff than normal. You already mentioned McDuffie. He had a couple really nice tackles, that nice tackle for loss. So for as far as missed tackles, Quay only missed 1 tackle. Overall, the team was fine for the most part. Quay missed 1 tackle. And then so he had 14 tackles, only missed 1. Coop missed 2. So it looks a lot worse because he only had 4 total tackles. But, I don't know if they're running away from him. I would have to go back and watch some of the tape. But they were blitzing him a lot. And unfortunately, in those 12 blitzes, he only had 1 hurry. So he wasn't super effective there. And I think maybe that took him out of the game a little bit. So I wonder if that's something they're going to look at and make sure they don't over blitz him at this point. Or maybe that's something they just saw against the Browns and I thought they'd have a little more success with it. I will say Edge was really good in coverage. He let up 4 receptions for only 19 yards. We'll take that all day, every day. Yep. When you're letting up that little bit of yards. Overall, the linebackers had 23 tackles and 12 run stops. Overall, the tackling did not impact. I can't think of a huge missed tackle at all that would have, caused any issues in this game. Browns broke maybe 1 or 2 couple nice runs. I will say they were running the ball pretty effectively for 4 or 5 yards a pop, but several times. But overall, really solid game from tackling and the linebackers.
I think part of what goes with that as well is how well, like we saw it a lot during the Lions and the Commanders games, and even in this game, the times, how well they're rallying to the ball.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks to the missed tackles not having as strong of an impact.
Yeah, because I can only think of 1 missed tackle all year long that led to something big, and that was Quay Walker's versus Zach Ertz. Every other missed tackle we've seen from this team has led to maybe a few yards, but a lot of times there's other guys right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's something we can look into and see what the yards after contact kind of stuff is, and see where the Packers rank in that.
Yeah.
Looking at the secondary, I want to say Carrington Valentine's been very good this year.
Yes.
And I don't think we've talked about it quite enough. He was 0 for 2 when he was targeted this week. Hobbs was 1 for 3 when he was targeted. Keyshawn Nixon was 3 for 5 when he was targeted. He only allowed 23 yards. So like you said, when you're allowing that little yardage in those completions, I mean, I have no complaints about the cornerbacks. I think those three all did a great job. The safeties, however, 7 for 9 completions allowed. And then Xavier McKinney did get his first interception of the season, which is great. But I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you should have tried to bat that one down.
Yep.
I get that it's hard when you're, a ball hawk to be like seeing a ball in the air and be like, ooh, I'm going to go get that. But I think a potential awareness thing there is I think there would have been like 14 seconds left and the Packers would have been at like the 45-yard line. I mean, you have a chance to run a play, get a little bit closer, and let McManus kick a 50-yard field goal.
Yeah. The unselfish play would have been to knock it down.
3 points could have been a big deal.
I can't blame him completely because he has not had nothing thrown his way deep this year. So he's probably like, I'm finally going to get my hands on one of these damn things. But the unselfish play, the smart play, the heads-up play at that time would have been to bat it down, have, 8 to 10 seconds left. That's one and a half completions, and you're kicking a field goal try at least.
Yeah. Looking at it, of the 7 missed tackles that the Packers did have, 3 of them did come from the secondary. Overall, they allowed 11 completions on 19 targets. That's 57.9%. That's pretty good. 2 flags happened. One against Javon Bullard that was questionable. He did make up for that one, having a really nice tackle for loss a couple plays later on a screen play. And then Keyshawn Nixon being called for a pass interference in the 4th quarter in the end zone. That, in my mind, that was a horrible call.
Yeah. Terrible call. That was great coverage.
And the thing about that is if it happened the other way around, I wouldn't be looking for a flag for the Packers.
There was one that was called against the Browns, and I was like, how is that even a penalty, dude? What are they doing?
No way that pass interference on Keyshawn Nixon in the end zone should have been a flag.
It was within 5 yards.
That was great coverage. He basically ran the route for the receiver. Not much contact. There's some, but the DB has a right to the ball also. If he wasn't looking at the ball, that'd be different. But Keyshawn Nixon staring at the ball the whole time, just like the receiver, running the route step for step with him. That's great coverage.
Yeah, I thought the refs were awful this game. Both ways. 22 penalties in a game. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And calling some ticky-tacky holding calls, too. Come on, man.
The other thing, too, I will say, as far as the 13 points that the Packers let up, 7 of them did come from a drive that started inside the 5-yard line. So the way I see it, the defense essentially allowed 6 points.
I would say 3. I would say the block kicked was returned almost in the field goal zone as well. They let up 1 first down after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a couple plays. I mean, yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that one, but even still, I would say 6. So, I mean, this is 3 weeks in a row now where, there's 2 garbage time touchdowns and a touchdown that started inside the 5-yard line after a turnover. I mean, you're looking at the Packers not letting a lot of points on the board, which is great to see. So, Jake, basically what I said when we were talking about the defense is we got to have the good thing first, and we'll talk about the not great stuff after that. But you want to go through the pass rush, 3rd and 4th downs, and the red zone.
Yeah. I'll just rip it real quick here. So, in terms of pass rush, the guy who got home twice was Rashawn Gary. Both of them on 3rd down, so clutch sacks on top of just getting home, right? So really good to see Bane Gary show his value, because I think people are kind of diminishing his value a little bit since the trade for Micah Parsons. People are kind of forgetting how good Rashawn Gary is, right? He's really good at setting the edge. We've talked about that a bunch. And he also can get after the passer. So he is well worth his contract, since that's been a hot discussion in Packers groups, is people not worth their contract when they can't even explain football to me. So that's a conversation for another day, I guess. In terms of quarterback hits, we had 9. I'm not on the team, but I care as much as they do. So if you don't like that, you can fight me. Parsons, Enigbare, and Van Ness all had 2 apiece. Walker, Brooks, and Gary all had 1 apiece. So a lot of people contributing into that. I thought the D-line was tremendous. I didn't get to hear your piece on it, obviously. I was running a little bit late. But I thought the D-line was outstanding again. The strongest part of this team is the defensive line. So much depth. A lot of young guys that are playing hungry. So I love that. And Dak Prescott is might be in a walking boot after this week because that offensive line is fucking bad. Going to hurries, we had 13 hurries, 4 from Van Ness, 3 from Parsons, 2 from Wyatt, Cooper, Gary, Stackhouse, and Brooks all had 1 apiece. So again, a ton of people kind of contributing into that, and it was really good. Do you want to do third down or red zone first?
Third down.
Okay, so going into third down defense, dude, when I was going over the stats and I rewatched the game, I was like, dude, how in the hell did they lose this game? How? I still don't understand. This does not make sense to me. But third down defense was tremendous again. Held the Browns to 4 of 13 on third downs, 1 of 2 on fourth down. In terms of third and short, that's the 1 to 3 area. They converted 3 of 4 of those. So 3 out of their 4 third down conversions were third and shorts. They had to get 1 yard, 2 yard, 2 yard. So 10 yards to get 3 third down conversions. Third and mediums, they went 1 for 3. The one they converted was a 5-yarder. And then they went 0 for 6 on third and longs. Not surprising. Like I said, the 2 sacks. And then they had a third and goal that technically was from the 20 because of a penalty by what am I thinking of?
Chop block.
Chop block, thank you. Was having a brain fart. Thank you for having my back there. Good teammate. Fourth down, the 1 for 2. They converted a 4th and 1 to Judkins, and the interception by X was also on 4th down. So that was the 4th down they didn't convert. Tyler, you made a really good point on that. And I did not think about him knocking it down. That's a very good point. That's why you're a good critical thinker. Going into red zone, if you want to flip the graphic for me, my boy. God, this defense is tough. They are tough. To get the ball at the 14, so first they went 1 for 2. They scored 1 touchdown. Obviously, we all know that. First and 10 at the 14, Judkins goes for 1. Second and 9 at the 13, Flacco, incomplete pass. Third and 9 at the 13, incomplete, flag on Bullard. Bullshit. That was a real, I mean, I can see where they call it a flag. I thought that was bullshit. You're talking about a low-scoring defensive game, got to let them play. That's just my opinion.
Honestly, I would have been less upset about it if they had called it illegal contact than holding.
That's fair. That's fair. Just to me personally, I like defense, so I did kind of enjoy the game. I didn't enjoy all the pre-snap penalties and stuff, but I did enjoy a low-scoring football game. That was a little nice to watch. Anyways, they have first and goal at the 8. Judkins goes for 3. Second and goal at the 5. Judkins goes for 2. Third and goal at the 3. Flag on Nixon. Bullshit. Then they have first and goal at the 1. Incomplete. Second and goal at the 1. Penalty, illegal chop block. I wrote it down, so I could have just read my own notes, but hey, still a good teammate over there. And then they had a negative 4-yard pass. And then third and goal, Flacco for 3 yards. And then they got a field goal. The second attempt they got was a first and goal at the 4. Flag out Williams, PI, and then first and goal at the 1. They had a touchdown to Judkins. The defense it was just a classic game of defense was on the field too much. They looked pretty gassed towards the end of this game. So, I mean, that touchdown they gave up, the D-line looked like they had, like, nothing left, man. And the offensive line for the Browns kind of dominated on that play. But, you know, to make them run as many plays as they did in the red zone from the short area that they were in, I was pretty impressed, to be honest with you. I know we're going to talk about offense soon, but we got to talk about one specific play, but we'll wait for that when we get there.
Yeah. And you mentioned Rashawn Gary. He is playing well. I do say, I Parsons gets some credit for that too, for sure. Yeah. Gary is playing better as a benefit of Parsons. You see many plays where Parsons is double, triple team, but that's what Gary's supposed to do. He has to take advantage of that, right? Because if he doesn't take advantage of that, then you have a problem. You know, I think Parsons would be, if you at the end of the season, if Gary has 15 sacks and Parsons has 11, I don't think Parsons will have any bad feeling. I think he'd be like, I'm happy.
Yeah, he just wants to win.
If you have 26 sacks between 2 players, nobody's going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
I think Parsons, now that they got paid, I think that he really has flipped his focus to, just wanting to win.
He wants a ring now.
At the end of the day,
he doesn't want to be a Hall of Fame player. He doesn't want to be Dan Marino.
No, I'm still seeing Gary get chipped by running backs and tight ends plenty.
Oh, for sure.
They're still chipping both sides. They're just doubling on one side,
Yeah.
chipping on the other side to try to slow Gary down. And that's where a
It's
guy
taking work.
like Devontae Wyatt, where Tyler's been talking about his impact for the last couple of years, that's where Wyatt becomes really big. And Wyatt is going to be very good this week. Just
As long as he's healthy.
saying.
Assuming he's good to go.
He's going to be real good
so
this
far,
week.
so good.
Well, I'm saying his knee injury.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right.
Alrighty, let's jump into Brian's favorite segment, special teams.
I mean, so I know Tyler started the show with saying we're not going to scream for anyone to be fired, but quite frankly, I'm done with Rich Bisaccia. I've been saying this for a few years. I don't know how he's the highest paid special teams coach. He's the highest paid special teams coach. We have several people on the roster that's specifically for special teams, and then on top of it, he has 2 personal assistants to coach for him as well. And we still cannot get this right. Okay, we have Golden back there who's letting the ball bounce on the 2 and get down to the 2. We can't have that happening. He's got to come up and fair catch that. He did make a good one. He did make a good one earlier where it bounced in. So I guess that's a hard one. I'll give him some leeway there. However, I was thinking, okay, maybe they'll call Hardman up. Well, nope, they cut Hardman today. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that wasn't in the plans. But there was almost a kick blocked earlier in the game. They didn't make any adjustments, and then it gets blocked there. And they made one good play all day on special teams, and that was the 40-yard return after it was 10-10. And then what do? Immediately waste it with another boneheaded special teams play that costs us the game. Like, I don't understand how this can continue to happen with the special teams. And then kind of like it's just really hard to watch your team blow a game on a special teams play yet again, and then you watch your main competition, the Philadelphia Eagles, win the game on a special teams. You watch San Francisco win the game on the special teams play, and you watch Tampa Bay win the game on a special teams play while you're losing on a special teams play.
To be fair, Tampa Bay almost lost on a special teams play too.
I know the Rams lost, but when I tell you, if I said, Jake, name me your 2 biggest competition in the NFC, I would think it would probably be Tampa Bay and the Eagles. That's who I would have said coming in. The Rams are good, but I feel like they're a little aging and Stafford is back and stuff. But don't get me wrong, the Rams are very good. They blew that game, but that was not just a special teams thing. They completely collapsed.
No, I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying that Tampa Bay almost lost because of a special teams play as well. So
yeah, but
that kind of goes into a factor. But the reason I would say the Rams are a bigger threat is because of the 2 wide receivers, both and the play caller.
And Tampa Bay,
Sean McVay a lot.
What did Tampa Bay do though after they gave up that touchdown? They drove down the field.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
What did Green Bay do after they gave up that touchdown? They drove down the field. Who made the kick and who didn't? Right. That's the point I'm making. Like,
that's a good point. That's fair.
So like it just continues to happen. And I'm going to say right now, if the special teams performs and makes mistakes as they did against Dallas, as they just did again against Washington and Cleveland the last 2 games, I think Matt LaFleur needs to heavily look at firing Rich Bisaccia and replace him during the bye. Or if anything,
if there's a time to do it, it would be after 2 bad performances right before the bye.
Yeah, or send him somewhere to be, an assistant or a what do they call it? Like when someone
an associate head coach,
a consultant or whatever. Like because at this point, it's just I don't know what else we need to do. And then even if they miss the kick, we have a player jumping off sides. On a 55-yard kick, you're jumping off sides. You shouldn't even be trying to block that one from coming around the edge. A 55-yard kick is going to be a line drive kick most of the times. You should just be jumping. If that's wasn't Micah Parsons, I don't know who it was. Anyone with a vertical should be like jumping. And that one last thing is McManus has got to hit a better ball. He hit a line drive. I don't know why he hit that thing so low. That's a 43-yard kick. Put it in the air.
Yeah.
He hit an absolute line drive.
Yeah.
So,
Cody agrees with Bryant that we could sign the best returner and the issues would remain the same.
Well, we have a great returner. We're not using him back there. We haven't used Nixon once on a kick return. Why?
Think as far as I don't know. I suppose he didn't specify if he means kick or punt returners, but I do think as far as Matthew Golden is concerned with the release of Mecole Hardman made the same mistakes that we're talking about with Matthew Golden here, and one of them's a rookie and one of them's a longtime veteran. Yeah. And one of them had fumbles in the preseason and one of them didn't. So I think with Matthew Golden, we need to be looking for progress, not perfection.
Yeah. That Golden one's a small one. Like he made the same play earlier in the game and the ball bounced into the end zone.
Yeah.
So that was a hard
that bounced into the end zone.
Yeah. That's hard to gauge. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that one, but the other stuff is just unexcusable.
Yeah. And I think Savion Williams has shown some pretty decent kick return ability. So I'm interested to keep him back there.
Yeah, and I like it, but I do think Nixon has another level of like just quickness to him, not necessarily fat. Savion Williams is fast, but he's tall, he's 6'4", he's not quite as shifty.
Yeah. I want to see Melton get a couple returns back there, but he hasn't.
Yeah, but the thing about Williams is he has that long speed, and he might just have that feel for it. And Nixon has been actually really, really good at corner. So I like keeping him as the number one corner. He's been good out there, dude. He's been really close to people. Like people were dogging him coming into the year about separation and stuff. He's been elite in that area, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll give that to you. So, but it's not the returns haven't even been bad. Like our returning game has been fine for the most part, and that other than punt returns, I feel like we've made a couple mistakes there. But it's just the block kicks or the penalties. I didn't even mention the penalties. There's a penalty every damn game or snap on special.
Dude, I feel like that's every football game. Every time there's a big return, I'm like, "Where's the flag? Where's the flag?"
Yep.
You can't have a big return anymore. So why did they want more kick returns if every time they're going to call a flag, dude?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah,
so dumb.
Okay, going into coaching, looking at it, I mean, Bryant already talked about Rich Bisaccia, but looking at Matt LaFleur, one good thing, won the challenge this week, got the 12 men on the field. That's a good thing there. Good on Jordan Love to recognize that they had the 12 men on the field. In my opinion, they should have gotten that call then twice. Yeah. The simulated substitution because the play ended out of bounds, that's some bullshit. Simulated substitution because a player got tackled out of bounds. No. If all the same personnel come back on the field immediately after the play is over, that should not count as a, quote, simulated substitution. And I don't think they would have called it that if there wasn't an issue in a college football game the day before. Because there was a big deal made about it, and I think it was Auburn that it happened against. But there was a big deal made about the, quote, simulated substitution, and the refs shouldn't have allowed the play to be snapped. And then the Packers got kind of shafted on it on Sunday. So I don't love that, but it kind of is what it is. Unfortunately, and we'll talk about the offensive line when we get into the offense, I don't think Green Bay was prepared to lose two offensive linemen. I feel for Morgan a little bit being thrown into two positions that he was not practicing in. But again, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the offense. We talked about the defense. I'm really not mad at the defense. The touchdown that they gave up is, in my opinion, it's on the offense. It's on Jordan Love, and we'll talk about that as well. The other two things that I want to say is people were making a big deal about it being the Packers' first road game of the year. And I didn't put a ton of stock into it, but I can't deny that it was a factor. The noise was an impact, and obviously it played into some penalties, some false starts, some things like that, but way, way, way too many penalties. 14 penalties is ridiculous. That is the most under Matt LaFleur. I think it's the most since week 3 of 2010, if I'm not mistaken, which obviously we know how that season went. So, maybe it's written in the stars. Maybe it's just way too many penalties. All right.
Yeah. On coaching, there was like several decisions I just didn't understand. I thought the quick snap at the end of the third period, like, what are you doing? I mean, just let that get to the third quarter. Let it get to the fourth quarter. And then on top of that, I felt like he could have challenged it because they didn't get the snap off. I felt like if I'm at LaFleur, I'm sitting there thinking maybe I should challenge this and say we didn't get the snap off in time. Like someone needs to be in his ear and be like, hey, Matt, that play didn't turn out too well because guess what? If that would have been a big play, guess who would have challenged it? Cleveland.
Can you challenge that though?
I think you can challenge if a play was at the end of the quarter. And then
I know the Packers had the one a couple of years ago where they got the big play to Jaden Reed, but I don't remember if you can challenge those or not.
I don't know. I guess that'd be something I'd have.
Yeah, that was in the third quarter against the Lions. That's the one you're talking about, Tyler.
But I think you
Jaden Reed. Yeah,
I think you can challenge it. And then what was I going to say? So that was I didn't understand. I really did not like the play call to Jordan or that to throw the ball there. Like, look, I know he's been he's said, "Oh, I want to win with the ball in our hands" or whatever. But our offense was struggling all game long. If you run the ball there, if we punt that ball on third down, if we run the ball there and punt that ball, and that interception doesn't happen, we 100% win that game. And I think, and this could be a little PTSD from him that he's not used to having a defense that's going to win him a game. This defense can win you a game. This is a defense you can put the ball back in the opponent's hand and force them to come down the field, especially if you're up 10-3. And that if they score, it's just a tie game. It's not even a losing game unless they go for 2, which I would invite them to do against our defense. Like those were a couple of them, and then it's just like, I just didn't understand some of them. There was a lot of bad decisions by Jordan too, and we'll talk about that when we talk about Jordan. But I thought this is a really bad game by Matt LaFleur.
Justin, welcome back. Cody said we have a defense. If you score 2 or 3 times, you win the game. I agree.
Yes.
All right, let's go into the offense. Start with the tight ends. Bryant, you are covering that for Simon this week.
Yeah, I mean, they played an okay game. They weren't hugely involved because the offense really couldn't do anything. Congrats to Fitzpatrick for having his first ever NFL touchdown. I'll say I feel like he did a really good job kind of leaking and finding the open spot on that play. When he seen that Jordan was scrambling, he kind of trailed off and did a really good job getting his hands up. So great play by Fitzpatrick there. He actually outstuck Snap Musgrave probably because of not probably, because of blocking, which is funny enough because PFF actually graded Musgrave a higher blocker. But, it's not like Matt LaFleur has live PFF stats to tell him who's doing what. Or maybe maybe they do, but I don't know. But Kraft had a few nice catches, the one that set up the field goal, but then it's hard to tell. I was having a debate with someone about this too. I don't know that the guy coming around the edge really touched the ball. Matt LaFleur said he might have tipped it. They don't really know. It's hard, but the main block came from the guy at the line, but Tucker Kraft still needs to, because if McManus has that coming into his peripheral, that could speed up his operation too, and maybe that's why he hits the line drive. Kraft needs to block that guy a little bit better there. But, overall, kind of quiet game from the tight ends. Kraft had his 3 for like 29 yards, and Fitz had his touchdown. Other than that, it was pretty much not too much there.
All right, what about wide receivers?
Yeah, they also look fine, catching the balls that they could. But they just didn't have the time because Love was under so much pressure. He was just pressured so quickly all the time. On the big Matthew Golden play, watching it in slow motion, I do think he had to overstride to catch the ball. I think he just did overstride. He took like a really big step right when he was catching the ball. And I think that he was trying to gather himself and just couldn't gather himself in time to get turned back upfield. But I bet if you ask him, it's going to be interesting this week if they get a chance to talk to him in the locker room tomorrow, what his kind of thought is on that. Because I bet you if you ask him, he's going to tell you he needs to score there. Tyler brought up a good point earlier off live that maybe if he just runs a more straight route and brings it out and up a little bit more before the ball is delivered, that he's just running straight down the field. I think 9 out of 10 times that's probably a 95-yard touchdown. It's just if anyone that's kind of like, what the heck are you going out of bounds for? I implore you to go back and watch it, and you'll see right when he's catching the ball, he takes like that running like stride leap or whatever, and I think he's just trying to gather himself afterwards. Solid game again from Romeo, drawing a penalty, and Wicks I feel like has just continued to be a solid. He takes advantage of the few targets he does get. The last thing I'll say is I don't know what this crap with Savion Williams is. Stopped. We're not in 2012 anymore. Why are we running Wildcat? And it's hard to watch them try to do that as a trick play. It did work a little bit last week. I get it, but we ran it twice. We're not running the ball. I get Matt LaFleur trying to do everything we can to try to get the ball around, but we got to do something different out of it. Like you see what like the Detroit Lions drew up that end around to a pitch to Gibbs last night. Like that's a gorgeous play. And I just don't feel like we have that creativity right now in our offense. And I want to see it. You know what I mean? If Savion Williams, maybe we're setting things up, but at this point, maybe it's time to use it because we're not doing shit right now in offense. And if Savion can throw the ball, let's throw the ball. You know what I mean? Like
I can see both sides of the coin on that. Cause like part of it is like, we're playing against a good defense. We're struggling to get the ball moving. We need to do what we're good at and what we know. But I can also see like, hey, we're playing a good defense. We're looking for a shot in the arm. Like I can see both things. I can also see saying like, hey, wait until we're playing against a defense that's not as strong. we can run a trick play and completely trick them and get a monster play out of it. Like there's 6 sides to the die when it comes to it, and like all of them can be reasoned with.
Yeah. When we're not running the ball as well as it is, and then he's taking a direct snap and he's not a running back. I mean, I know he carried the ball a lot in college, so he knows what he's doing, but then still trying to kind of run up the middle or just, try to break it outside, but they're getting penetration immediately. It's just not working.
And that's where I'd like to see maybe a little bit more like wide receiver screen type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get him the ball in a little bit of space instead of having him try to squeeze through a line. Throw a wide receiver screen or something to him. Yeah.
And it gets the ball away from their defensive line quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see him use Savion a little different than what they're doing right now.
You know what I would like them to do with that Wildcat is if you run it in the red zone, and like you said, he's trying to run like a power, have him look like he's running the power and do the jump pass to a tight end. I think that's a play that could be really useful with Savion at quarterback.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't look
I want to see him do that with Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
See?
I think Savion could actually throw the ball, not just have to do the little jump pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the jump pass makes it look like he's going for the dive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So they definitely could be setting something up for sure. It's just I mean, maybe if they had something, that would have been good.
Maybe we get to week 10 and they run this trick play and Savion pitches the ball back to Love and he throws a 85-yard touchdown to Matthew Golden or something like that. And we're like, remember in week 3 when this play got blown up?
Yeah.
They made it work. Like,
yeah, we'll see.
Cody said this year's Wildcat is last year's sweeps. I'm not that mad at it yet.
Neither am I.
Not yet. It's only been 3 of them, and the one worked decent. So the other 2 is just blowing up so quick you can't do nothing with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so looking at the passing game distribution now that Brian went through the pass catchers, only 6 players were targeted this week. That is the first time in Love's 3 years that we've been dividing all these topics that I've covered this topic that he's been under 7. It's the first time. No targets for Heath, Savion Williams, or Luke Musgrave. Obviously, we just mentioned Savion getting the ball in the Wildcat scenario, but only 1 pass, 20-plus yards down the field, was the 34-yard play to Matthew Golden, which was a great play. Loved that. Great ball by Love. Good route by Golden with an opportunity to be a better route, like Brian said. 0 10 to 19-yard passes. There were 0 passes from 10 to 19 yards, which you put those 2 things together, that means the Packers only had 1 pass go farther than 10 yards in the air this week.
Jesus.
And unfortunately, the credit goes to the Cleveland Browns because we talked about it last week about how the Browns were giving up the longest passes. And then how Love had been averaging like 14 yards average depth of target over the first 2 weeks of the season. And the Browns did not let the Packers get downfield at all. Literally 1 time the Packers were able to get downfield. Justin said it's hard to run trick plays when your full O-line is not playing and you have the electric type. You don't have the electric type energy. You need to make those plays happen. That's part of it. But again, I mean, if you can get the ball to the perimeter and get the ball away from the O-line, away from the good D-line, that's something that you can potentially work. But again, like we've said, Love didn't have time to push the ball downfield, and it made the field feel very small. When the Packers were on offense, the field felt small. It felt like the Packers had between the line of scrimmage and the sticks to work with, and that was about it, sometimes even less. So, Bryant, I don't envy you to cover this, but what are we thinking about the O-line?
Yeah, they played absolutely. I haven't seen I would say in a long time, but the last time it was this bad was against the Eagles in the playoffs. It was awful. I mean, coaching staff definitely needs to take some blame. I know it's hard to project if Tom's not going to play or he's going to go and get injured or re-hurt after the first play. You can't let that happen. You need to know. You need to test him better or something pregame or in practice to know that he's not going to go. If that means you tell him, okay, Tom, here's Micah Parsons. He's going to run into you like Myles Garrett is going to run into you, and you tell us how you feel. And if Tom's like, nope, that did not feel good, you got to plan on not to have him. I don't understand why against Washington We had Belton playing 50 snaps and you look decent. And then all of a sudden we just throw Morgan into another position at right tackle to start the game. Why are we doing this to the kid? I don't know. Kennard has looked decent in the few snaps he's gotten. Maybe he should have started there, or you just put Belton back out there, who played well the week prior and was, you know what I mean? So I don't understand that. Then you have Rasheed Walker talking shit this week about, oh, we're going to go undefeated. The dude had a 15 PFF grade in pass blocking, a 15. On top of that,
he got virally clipped, bro. Did you see that clip?
With Myles Garrett completely turns him around. And then on top of that, Rasheed Walker commits 2 penalties. It's like, this is the crap that you get a big head. And honestly, I sat on the couch and I was like, well, you just got humbled. And I was trying to tell everybody, Jim Schwartz's defense has the number of Kyle Shanahan type tree offenses. They give all those types of teams troubles. You see it with San Francisco, you see it with Green Bay, you see it with the Rams. Everyone that from that kind of tree, they have trouble with this defense. It wasn't going to, you know what I mean? Then you have a guy talking about we're going undefeated. Like, come on, man. And then you go out there, you say that going against the best pass rusher in the league, and then you go out there and you look like shit. Like, come on. That's just embarrassing.
If they had shut down Myles Garrett this week and then made that comment,
yeah,
it might be a little different.
And the sad part is he didn't even have the worst PFF blocking grade. Aaron Banks had a 12.
Aaron Banks played, I think, like 11 snaps or 31.
I think he played 30.
He played half.
31. So Love was pressured 17 times, sacked 5 times. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to, like, and everyone's saying, oh, see, Love isn't the answer. Love is blah, 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 blah. It's, dude, no quarterback, even the great Tom Brady, how did you beat him? You pressure him, and you pressure him quickly.
I have stats on this, too, when we get to Jordan Love, so we'll have that discussion.
Well, I will say one of the sacks is on Love.
Yeah. That, and we'll talk about that when we talk about Love, because that was awful, and that was a really bad boneheaded decision. So I'm sure Tom and Banks will probably miss this week. It didn't sound like Tom had set it back further. He just wasn't ready. So that is a positive, but I'm sitting there thinking you don't play him. For one, against this defensive line, you don't play him, for one. No,
you sit him down for 2 straight weeks and make sure that he feels good coming back against Cincy.
Exactly. We have a bye coming up. You just sit him.
Yep.
Like, I want nothing. It should, and I don't want Morgan starting out there. It should be Kennard or it should be Belton.
I mean, Morgan can go in that guard. I like him at guard.
I mean, I don't like him after they move, but okay. I'll say this. Lastly, the penalties were just horrible. Like 5 penalties can't happen. I mean, it's just bad. And then, you know, it might be getting to the point where they need to start. I don't know that they're going to take Jenkins and put him at right guard if Sean Ryan can play center, but once everyone's healthy, but they might have to start looking at a few things, or maybe see if there's someone else out there that they can bring in at least as a depth piece. If Banks can't get healthy, we're going to have to do something. Because right now we cannot run the ball worth a lick. We cannot run the ball. So, and that goes to being Banks. Banks was brought in to run the ball better. And he hasn't been on the field. So, hopefully we can get through Dallas here and get healthy.
So, a couple things on that. The Packers did sign Bryant Banks off of their practice squad today for some depth. I agree with you on Kennard and Belton, especially if we're talking about Zach Tom. Just give Belton the 1 reps this week and let him start. Yeah. Like you said, I think he was actually really good against Washington. He had the 1 penalty, but it was like the first 4 minutes of the game, and then he was clean for the rest of the game. Yeah. What I will say on Jordan Morgan, I think people need to cut him a little bit of slack. I'm not saying you need to excuse everything and use it as an excuse, but he deserves a little bit of slack because the 2 positions that he got forced into on Sunday were not the 2 positions that he spent the entire preseason playing and preparing for.
Yeah.
All preseason, he played right guard and left tackle, and then he got put in at left guard and right tackle. I understand it's all offensive line and it's, everything's just the opposite, but still, I mean, we're talking about different ways that you prepare for those positions, and it's just flip-flopped.
Well, also, if I can jump in real quick, these are the growing pains of a young player. Tyler, we went over this with baseball when we were talking about Jackson Churiel playing center field, right?
True.
And, also when he was playing left and right field, his first time playing outfield in some of these ballparks, he didn't know how to read the ball sometimes, and he made some silly plays, made some bad reads, and that's just what happens. That's the growing pains with young, talented players. Jordan Morgan's going to be fine. Yeah. I think he's absolutely going to be okay. He's going to slot in at guard, and he's going to be really good. He's got really good feet. He's super athletic. I think he's going to turn into be a really, really good player.
I don't think
people are
he's
always
gonna
going to point out the thing that's pissing me off, honestly, is people are pointing out the penalties that Morgan played, and they're not talking about the penalties that Walker had. And Walker had 2 penalties in the fucking red zone.
And Walker has been playing his position for 2.5 years.
And actually,
yeah, and the thing about Walker talking about going undefeated, I think he forgot that he was the 7th round pick.
Yeah, actually, I guess they announced in the stadium too that they had called 3 penalties on Morgan. He actually was only 2 of them were his. The other one went against a different player. I can't remember who it was against. Maybe Jenkins or something like that. But
I think there was one against Sean Ryan also.
Yeah, maybe so. So he actually only had 2, so he had the same as Ryan. I'll say I'm not sold on Morgan being a guard. I don't think he's big enough or strong enough to be inside. I do think he has a chance to be a very good left tackle once he takes over that position. So that's where I'm thinking he's going to go. For me, I think he goes to left tackle.
Yep, I agree. I understand too. Like he's still probably your 6th best offensive lineman, but then. And this is an in-game question versus we have a 5 days from now to prepare for the next game question of who is your best plug-and-play guy versus, all right, we're going to plan on Zach Tom being out this week. We're going to give Anthony Belton all the reps at right tackle versus, all right, shit, we just lost Zach Tom. Who's our next best offensive lineman? Who's next up on the depth chart? Who's next going in to substitute it?
Yeah, I mean, in preseason – I thought Morgan looked the best at left tackle, and it was like for himself. I thought where he looked the best was left tackle, and it wasn't all that close. I thought he looked pretty good there. So
I think we all thought he had a chance to beat out Rasheed Walker for the starting job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the reason he doesn't is because they know they can get a 3rd round pick when Rasheed gets paid.
Yeah. And Morgan has the versatility, which Walker doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
So Jake covered the running game this week for Simon. So Jake, what did you take away from the run game?
Well, not much, just like the Packers running game. So if you look at the numbers, Josh Jacobs had 16 attempts for 30 yards. Here's where it gets really bad. He had 38 yards after contact. That is butt ugly.
It's kind of crazy that that's not the only person that's dealing with that this year. Like Ashton Genty has like negative 101 yards before contact.
Yeah, the Raiders offensive line is by far the worst in the league, in my opinion.
There was somebody else that I saw had like negative 31 before contact this week too. And it's I will say some of the games I watched, the thing about Ashton Genty is he's not very good in pass pro either. We're not talking about the Raiders, but he's been pretty rough in pass pro, in my opinion. Matthew Golden had 3 attempts for 9 yards. I thought that was pretty silly by Matt LaFleur to run back-to-back sweeps. I'm like, dog, what are you doing here? Like, I understood the first one. The first one made sense to me. But to run it back-to-back, I'm just like, dog, is this the Kia Raider playbook? What are we doing here? Run left, run right, pass it and punt? What the fuck are we doing? Manuel Wilson actually had some pretty good jolt. It was nice to see him on the field as well, 6 attempts for 25 yards. It's just the yards after contact thing. I talk about this when we talk about Badgers, which we will be tomorrow. Unfortunately, we're talking about bad offensive line and lack of run game, and I feel like I'm going to have the same discussion 2 days in a row, which really is starting to get me pissed off, honestly. But you can't have more yards after contact than total rushing yards. I will say the one thing I will defend Matt LaFleur on that I saw people bitching about was in the red zone, the touchdown that eventually went to Fitzpatrick. People are like, why would you just run it on first down? Because you're going to set something up. And Josh Jacobs has had a rushing touchdown in 11 straight games. He's Josh fucking Jacobs. That's it.
His name's my name too. But then you run it on second down because he's Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
And then you set that up, and the reason that Fitzpatrick was so wide open is because you did try to power it twice in a row. So I did like that sequence of events from Matt LaFleur. The only thing I didn't like was the back-to-back jet sweeps where I was like, brother, no. And would it kill him to run some goddamn play action after a jet sweep? If he wanted to, I would have preferred, if he wanted to do the jet sweep action, do a play action jet sweep and then throw the ball. I think that would have worked a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought they could have done a better job of playing some play action and boot and getting Jordan moving a little bit because, the interior line was a turnstile. So,
all right, Jake, 3rd and 4th down offense.
Yeah. So I told you I was looking at the numbers, and I don't understand, where we lost this game. I understand that offensive line and pre-snap penalties had a lot to do with it, but like I said before on defense, we held them to 4 of 13 on 3rd down. The Packers went 10 of 18. They converted 10 freaking 3rd downs, bro, and they scored 10 points. Make that make sense. In the first half, in the 3rd and short area, they went 4 for 4, so very good. They picked up three 3rd downs on their first drive of the game, so that was impressive. In the 3rd and short area, by the way. In the first half, in the 3rd and medium area, they went 1 for 2. The one they missed was a 3rd and 7. And then 3rd and long, they were 0 for 2 in the first half. They got sacked on one of the 3rd down slows. So those are those momentum plays that I talk about, right? Then you get to the second half, and in the 3rd and short area, the Packers went 3 of 5 on 3rd down. They started 3 for 3, so technically they started 7 for 7 in the 3rd and short area. The first one they missed was the really, really bad sack where Jordan Love, you have to throw that ball away. That play started as a freaking 3rd and 1, dude. A 3rd and 1. Oh, dude, when that happened, I was like,
that's the play that should have never been snapped. It was at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I got a really sick feeling in my stomach after that play happened. I was like, oh, God, dude, this is going to be a disaster class in the 4th quarter here. That play right there kind of felt like it flipped the momentum. The second 3rd down that they missed in the second half was the interception, which I don't blame Jordan for as much. He was running for his life the entire day, and I know we're going to talk about Jordan Love, but he thought he saw a man coverage. They ran cover 1 robber. It's a good play call by the Browns. Jim Schwartz has been around the NFL for a long time. He knows a thing or two about defense. So overall, they went 7 for 9 in the 3rd and short area. In the second half, they went 1 for 2 again from the 3rd and medium area. The one they missed, they got sacked on. And so 2 for 4 there. In the 3rd and long area, they picked up 1 3rd and long. So they were 1 for 3 in the second half, 1 for 5 overall. The one they picked up was the pass to Golden. Absolute clutch throw, clutch catch. Do I think that Matthew Golden could have probably tried to stay in bounds? Yeah, but I also think that he's a rookie. He made a clutch catch. The Packers were at the 4-yard line. I want to remind people. A 3rd and 8 from the 4-yard line, which is crazy. And it was just a really, really good play. That doesn't take away. Tyler and I talk about this all the time. That doesn't take away from the clutch play just because they lost. So good play by the Packers offense.
Good call.
And you got to be able to put teams away like the Browns because this is the kind of silly shit that happens when you don't.
Yeah. Matthew said, I hope the Packers beat Dallas. We'll get to that shortly. Looking at the red zone, the Packers had 2 trips to the red zone. The first time, there was a 3rd and 4 at the 16-yard line. False start moved them back out of the red zone, and they ended up with a field goal. The second one, they had a 3rd and 7 at the 19, had a 16-yard completion to Dontavian Wicks, got him to the 3-yard line, and that drive ended in the Fitzpatrick touchdown. So they scored both times. They got down to the red zone, 1 touchdown, 1 field goal. My not even displeasure, because I'm not like super angry about it or anything like that. I just want to see more opportunities. So let's talk Jordan Love. Bryant, I'll let you give your thoughts first. What you're thinking about Jordan Love. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? What are your thoughts on?
He is. I can't stand these people saying that. I've seen Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love. Okay.
Oh, here we go. We are so back.
Yeah, okay, people. Because they lit up Dallas, and now what's going to happen is if Jordan Love doesn't throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns or whatever, even though we go to Dallas and be like, see, Caleb's better, and pretend like they haven't seen what else has happened with Caleb Williams. But yes, Jordan Love is a guy. I don't want to hear it that they literally showed you the stats, the comparison between Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers in the middle of the game, and it was essentially identical. And people are still like, he doesn't have it. I'm like, what doesn't he have? Like that you're not liking. He does. Don't get me wrong. There was 2. We talked about the interception. For one, that was a bad play call by Matt LaFleur. Why are you throwing into a jumbled set? Why are you even giving a chance to have a jumbled set on the one side where they can, easily get a deflection or drop the, great play by the corner to come off his route of his man and pick that off. That's a great play. But you should, with the way our defense is playing, they should have ran the ball and punted.
I
Yes,
like
that's
the
a
other
really
call
bad.
that you talked about it before we started the show. I wouldn't have minded a deep shot there.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Even if you take a sack,
Yep.
the clock keeps running.
Yeah,
and you have
Jordan
Daniel
Love could
Whelan.
take a 10-yard sack on that play and we win the game.
Yeah,
So
I'm okay with a 4th and 13 from the 40-yard line instead of a 3rd and 3 interception at the 47.
Yeah, and actually,
I like the play call.
If he takes a deep shot and it gets picked off, we probably still win the game.
That's just a punt at that point too.
Yeah,
I like the deep shot idea.
And I get it, Jake. It should have worked. It was man, but he dropped off. Great play by the DB. But I feel like you're lining up three players there to run the same. All of them run slants. You just have a lot of chance for a quick throw, like a deflection or something like that. For me, I feel like you spread it out a little bit, or you go to the single side and throw to the single side if that guy beats him. But ultimately, Matt LaFleur, just don't put him in that position. At that point, when that play happened, there's less than 3 minutes left on the clock or whatever it was, and we're up 10-3 with the ball. We can't lose that game. You got to be able to punt there. The only way we lose that game is the turnover rate there. So that for me, you run the ball, and then so there's that play, and then the big boneheaded sack he took on that quick snap where they rush the snap, and then he takes a sack for a 13-yard loss or whatever it was. When you're on, it's 3rd and 1 at that point. You're on their side of the field. You're probably going for it on 4th down if you just throw the ball away and you have a chance to put up more points and really salt the game away at that point. You cannot. He was a million miles outside the pocket. Just throw it out of bounds. I know that Cole Schlesinger was coming like a missile, but you got to be able to see that. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I mean, just other than that, I thought he played he was doing what he could with what he was afforded to him because he was under pressure all the time.
45.2% of his dropbacks, he was under pressure. 45%.
And the scary part is that number's close to 40 on the whole season. So,
yeah. Jake, what did you see from Jordan Love?
Saw a lot of happy feet. And I know that it could be scary, especially for a guy who just had a leg injury. But you got to be able to stand in there and deliver some strikes every once in a while, dude. That was the one thing that I was kind of bitching about on Sunday is, and I even texted Tyler, I was like, dude, he's got to stop with the fucking happy feet, dude. You're going to get hit, bro. It's football. It's literally legal assault. You got to stand in there and make a shot every once in a while. Yeah. And I said I liked the play, right? I liked it for 2 reasons. One, you're paying Jordan Love a lot of money. We think he's the man. There are a lot of people that are, former players, like a guy that, I don't know, is going to be a Hall of Famer like Drew Brees. He just said today that he loves Jordan Love. He thinks that Jordan Love's playing really good football. I don't know if you know, but that guy knows a little bit about the game of football. And
he's gotten stamps of approval from plenty of people.
Yeah. But the stamp of approval from a guy like Drew Brees.
I mean, like Kurt Warner has given him the stamp of approval.
And right? And I know people, a lot of people, there's a lot of Packers fans that don't like Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is obviously in the building with him, and he knows what kind of talent that Jordan Love has. Yep. So if you're one of those Packers fans that's questioning Jordan Love's talent, I'm going to tell you like my 12-year-old son would say it, get out! Don't come back! Because that's bullshit and dumb and silly. Just don't do it. You don't know ball if you say that stuff.
I feel like people get salty because he's not Aaron Rodgers, who would always opt to play another down, and he's got some Brett Favre in him. He's got some Brett Favre in him.
The thing about Brett Favre that's different, though, is Favre would put his head down and try to gain yards and probably throw the ball in the air and make a silly-ass mistake. And that's the things we saw with Love last year when he had one leg. Like the pick six he had against the Rams, where he just threw the ball in the air, and I'm like, dude, what the hell is this guy doing? That's the Brett Favre in him. Him just taking a sack, dude, that's just strictly just –
Well, I meant on the interception more so, but –
Yeah, the interception, that did kind of remind me of Favre's last pass with the Packers, where he forced the ball to Donald Driver. The other reason I didn't finish, the other reason I liked the play call is because you're going to Dontavian Wicks, a guy that can win a one-on-one situation. That's the one thing that I took away from it. I'm like, okay, I'm not mad at it, but obviously the worst possible thing happened.
I mean, people are talking about this. It's like, yeah, I get it that we just seen what happened in the playoffs. Jordan Love did not play a good game. There's a couple bad interceptions or whatever. I think that was Jordan Love's first interception in like 9 regular season games.
Yeah.
Like
Like
come on.
900 snaps or something like that.
Yeah. He'll be fine. It's his first of the year.
Yeah. For me, up until the interception, I think he was pretty good. Right after the 3rd and 8 completion to Matthew Golden, it started raining, and then Jordan Love's first back-to-back incompletions happened. Which kind of sucks. It is what it is. But to Jake's point on the pressure with the happy feet, there was really only one play that I felt like Love had time to like calm, settle, hit your throw. And there was a check down to Josh Jacobs that he kind of just threw over his hands. And Josh Jacobs had Tucker Kraft as a lead blocker in front of him. Yeah. So I don't think he had to worry about it being a hospital ball for Josh Jacobs. And I don't think he had to worry about taking the hit on that one. So there was really only one play where I really, really felt like, hey, settle down. You had time. We talked about the constant pressure, but when Jordan Love was kept clean, he was 14 of 16. So in my mind, if the offensive line does their jobs, I have no problem saying that Jordan Love is the guy. And that's before we get into arm talent and ball placement and all the things like that.
I mean, what did he do right after he threw that interception and the game was tied? He delivered a gorgeous ball to Romeo Doubs that forced a pass interference. And then he hit Tucker Kraft on that rollout and had us in 2 plays. We were in field goal position.
Field goal range, yep.
Because he brain drumps that stuff.
Yeah. He's
able to brush it off and make the next play. Like,
not to mention he was one of the guys that made the tackle on the interception. Him and Sean Ryan. But to your point, to something that Jake said that we say on our Wednesday shows a lot is just because the Packers lost the game doesn't make those plays unclutch. Just because the field goal got blocked doesn't mean that Jordan Love didn't go get the Packers into scoring position.
Yep.
So, all right, let's move on. Let's just wash it away. Like Matt LaFleur said, it's something you have to learn from. I told Bryant before the show he's no longer allowed to refer to games as trap games anymore. So no more of that. But let's move forward. I said to the guys, I'm like, hopefully we're in week 12 and we're looking at the Packers being 8-3 or something like that, and we're like, yeah, they could be 9-2, but we're okay here. Justin said if Golden can ever get on the same page as Love, it's going to be amazing.
They're close.
Like I said, with the punt returning, not even looking for perfection, just progress, and I think that one along the sideline is a good step in the right direction. So, Brian, what are you looking for from the Packers defense on Sunday night football?
Yeah. So we're going to catch a little bit of a break here. Their best players out of the game. Well, their best offensive player, weapon, I should say. CeeDee Lamb's not going to play because of his high ankle sprain.
He might be their best player.
He's their best.
I would disagree with that.
So, so that means for linebackers, they're going to have to pay a lot of attention to Ferguson. He's going to get a lot of targets, and Javonte Williams will catch the ball too. So they got to be prepared. He's probably going to catch the ball. It's hard to, when a tight end's wanting to block you out at 4 or 5 yards on the field, you're probably going to get blocked out. Just make sure you tackle him right away. Maybe hit him right away and force a couple drops or, a couple pass breakups or whatever in that short area. That being said, they do have 2 wide receivers that can get down the field quick, Turpin and the other one's escaping me. Who?
Pickens?
Well, Pickens is good too, but they have another speedy one that I can't. The name is escaping me right now. But
you're thinking of Tolbert?
Yeah, Tolbert. Sorry. So they have some speedy wide receivers. But let McKinney worry about that, right? So these linebackers just get ready to, 5 yards, 7 yards and in, just dominate. If we can dominate and we can help the defensive line slow down this run, this is a game where our offensive line and our defensive line should be the better lines in the game. And in the trenches, we need to be the better team in the trenches this game. It would be unexcusable for us not to be. So with Lamb being out, just be ready for the Ferguson throws, and then Sanders and Javonte Williams. You can say what you want. They say they're washed, they're old. They've been running the ball really well this year.
Javonte Williams looks great.
Yeah, they're one of the best teams in running the ball this year, averaging like close to 5.5, 6 yards a carry. So be prepared. You're going to need to stop that. They will also be without their rookie out of Alabama, Booker. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. So they did sustain a couple big injuries. So we're hurting. Dallas, you could argue, is hurting just as much, if not more, with a couple big name players. So, I feel like we just got to win the game in the trenches and around the line of scrimmage, and we'll be okay.
Jake, what are you looking for from the Packers defense?
We'll start on third down. Cowboys are coming off a week where they went 3 of 11 on third downs, but have been solid on third down so far this year. They have done a nice job getting Williams going north and south and staying ahead of the chains. No CD this week will definitely help us. Have to key on Ferguson on third and fourth downs. He'll probably be the guy that they target a ton. In terms of, you have to get him in third and longs. That's always the goal versus every team, right? But, the reason for that is because league average on third downs, 3rd and 7+ is about 24%. That's what I was able to find. I went on like 7 different websites to try to find this number, and it was like 24 to 26% on all of them. So you get yourself in advantageous situations. You can, let Micah Parsons tee off on Dak Prescott, and then you go to red zone defense. Williams is a guy for them inside the red zone. He's been very, very good overall inside the 20s. And honestly, the Cowboys offense has been really good between the 20s. It's when they get into the red zone where they've kind of been struggling. In the red zone, though, he has 5 attempts for 17 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of his touchdowns were handoffs inside the 5. Packers have been really tremendous inside the red zone this year. Playing bend, not break defense, obviously making the Browns last week run like 9 plays from the 14-yard line is just crazy to me. I know it's the Browns offense, but I don't care. That's an NFL offense over there. And Kevin Stefanski is still a very good play caller.
Bullshit penalties that they overcame as well.
So then you get the pass rush. Obviously, we know that Micah has this one circled. He does not need any more motivation than to see Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys fans, and he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to prove to you that you made the absolute wrong choice. Then you have everybody else who's going to be locked in after a shitty loss, and LaFleur's going to have these boys ready to go. You want to go into the bye week 3-1, coming off a big-time win on Sunday Night Football. You're on the stage. You got the Cowboys who draw big numbers all the time. The Packers draw big numbers. It's the only game on at that time. You want to put on a show, especially after the stinker you had last week. Dallas has allowed 40 hurries and 52 pressures. 10 of the hurries and 13 of the pressures are from their left tackle.
Yeah, Guyton
He's been bad. 9 of the 40 hurries and 11 of the 52 pressures have come from their right tackle. So our 2 best players on the defensive line get to go against their 2 worst players. And yes, I'm glad you brought up Booker being out, because BB has also been subpar at center. He's terribly graded. And he has given up 5 hurries and 4 pressures inside. And that's with Booker being really, really good. He's been pretty solid to start this year. Cooper Beebe is going to be on an island, and Devontae Wyatt.
Cooper Beebe went on IR. Yeah, they have a backup now, or their other guy, Brock Hoffman, is going to be playing.
Oh, you're right. My fault.
James, welcome back. Good to
either
see
way,
you.
Their interior is damaged, and their tackles are horrible. So Dak Prescott's going to be getting rid of the ball quick, and their power run game should not work because our defense flies around.
Yeah. So you kind of already touched on Devontae Wyatt, who's playing great. He's playing great through 3 weeks. I'm going to hold firm that he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year.
Mm-hmm.
We, and this is partially mine because I cover the D line, we haven't said enough about Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah,
he's looking the part of what we wanted him to be through the first 3 games. He's rushing the passer. He led the team in pressures last week, and he's defending the run very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be one to give Lucas Van Ness that credit. I gave Kingsley Enagbare his flowers from the last game. But I mean, the whole unit, obviously including Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, who Jake discusses plenty in the pass rush, the whole unit has been really good. Wooden and Brooks come in, and make their plays here and there. Justin said Van Ness has improved tremendously. I think he's absolutely doing everything we've wanted to see from him. Reggie's excited for LVN as well.
Well,
As
people
far
are
as
just looking at the
secondary
sack numbers.
goes,
These are people being real and actually watching it. He's only got the half of the sack, but he is creating a lot of pressure. He's been tremendous against the run. Like he is playing really well.
Yeah, and against the run, he's been great. You guys already mentioned no CeeDee Lamb does make life easier, but it does increase the target share for everybody else. Spreads the ball around more, like Pickens, Ferguson, Turbin, Tolbert, and Javonte Williams, like you guys all said. I will say, overall, I'm not worried about the defense. CeeDee Lamb obviously is a guy that they like to feed the ball to because he's one of the best in the league. I would have said this had he been playing. He's also been struggling with some drops this year, but it is what it is. He's still CeeDee Lamb, and I would have agreed if somebody would have said that he's their best player.
Yeah.
Now that Micah Parsons is wearing green and yellow. Cody said he's on the Cooper top 3 arc, and Reggie reminded us that Rashawn Gary is leading the NFL in sacks with 4.5 through 3 weeks.
So what I want on the Packers defense is I want Carrington Valentine and Pickens' face talking all the shit because Pickens is a hothead, and without Lamb, get Pickens to punch you in the face, like legitimately get him thrown out of the game because he will do that.
Dude, I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that there are NFL players, professional athletes, who will punch somebody in the face while they are wearing a helmet.
Yep.
Like,
if you can get in,
there's nobody on the planet more prepared to be punched in the face than an NFL football player.
Yeah. If you can get in Pickens' head, you will take him off his game, and they'll struggle even more because he's a good player. But what's his MO? He's a hothead, and he gets stupid penalties because he wants to punch someone in the face. Exactly. He will 100% crash out. If we can get him to crash out, that's a bonus to us.
Yeah. There's definitely players like that where, like, if you can piss them off, you can take them off their game. All right. Bryant, what are you looking for from special teams?
Just try to be competent. Like, literally, I said it last week. The only way we lose this game is stupid penalties or some dumb special teams play. And what happens is a dumb special teams play. We cannot have a pump blocked, a kick blocked, anything. We can't. They do have two really good some good returners. You can't let them return a kick for a touchdown. So they have two really good returners, and they probably have the best kicker in the game. So we've got to match that a little bit. I don't think this is just going to be a cakewalk. Yeah, they're without CD. Everyone is saying we're going to smack the Browns. Well, guess what? What happened? You know what I mean? We don't get me wrong. We have put some hurtings on Dallas. But you also have Kenny Clark that's on that sideline. It's going to be motivating, try to pump them up as well. So, but for special teams, we just be competent, please. Don't. I'm not asking them to win us the game. Just don't cost us the game.
Yeah. All right, Jake, what are you looking for from the offense?
Yeah. So starting on Packers third down offense, Packers have been pretty rock solid on third downs, especially early in games. Picked up 2 clutch third downs last week. One was the touchdown to Fitz. I like that play calling. I talked about that already. And Matthew Golden late. So not only have they been really good early in games, but also they picked up some pretty clutch ones. Even if, in the middle of the third quarters and stuff, the first 2 games especially, they were kind of trying to, just get to the end of the game last week. Different story. Need to play better up front to open up some holes for Jacobs to allow some play action deep shots. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about play action deep shots, probably till the day I die, but that's probably my favorite play to set up. In terms of the Packers running game, so Dallas is giving up 109.7 rush yards per game. The Packers only average 98 rush yards per game so far. So this could be a get-right game for the Packers rush attempt. We're only averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Dallas is giving up 3.7 yards per carry. So this sounds like a recipe for success for us. And I haven't even gone into the passing numbers that they're giving up because that is going to be part of another segment that we talked about.
I would say they're pretty good against a run. So if they shut it down early, I think we just start slinging the ball around.
How injured is Kenny Clark? I saw he got hurt last week. But
he came back in the game. He'll be fine.
Okay. I didn't watch that.
If he was out, I would say it's a different story.
I'm like, I cannot watch the Bears do good after that loss. Dude.
But they've been actually pretty good against the run. Dallas has.
Yeah.
So for me, Dallas doesn't have a pass rush right now, right? So, but what's the cure for no pass rush? A bad offensive line. Well, What's the cure for a bad offensive line? No pass rush. So hopefully we can just edge that out. We have to play them, at least equal. Don't give them, a lot of pressures or anything. Javion Clowney will probably play. I don't know how. I know he has some legal troubles going on. I don't know how conditioned he'll be either, ready to play. So really the O-line just needs to play a solid game. Stop with the penalties. It's going to be loud in Dallas. No pre-snap penalties. Just, give Jordan a little bit of time because Dallas has been absolutely awful against the pass. They're allowing a league worst 288 yards per game, 9.8 yards per attempt. They've let up 7 touchdowns, a 74% completion percentage. They only have 1 interception on the year. The Green Bay in this offense should be able to swing this ball around a little bit in that dome in perfect conditions. I expect a really big bounce back game from the wide receivers and Jordan Love.
Part of this too is the Cowboys. Their offense has been good. Like they've been in some shootouts the last couple of weeks as well. I think that's part of what makes their run defense look a little bit better. True. And to a point, their pass offense look a little bit worse. Justin said he's Wick's biggest critic, but the guy has been good as of late. Yeah. I hope they get him the ball more. He's been very reliable through the first 3 games, and I think that goes to Jake's point on the 3rd and 3 call when Love threw the interception. I think throwing the ball to Dontavian Wicks in that situation, he's earned some trust there.
I can only think of 1 drop on the whole season so far from the Packers as a whole that I can actually think of.
I think Tucker Kraft had one.
Yeah. Tucker Kraft had one, then maybe Golden, they might have credited one for a ball that was thrown behind him. But other than that, yeah. No, Reed, sorry.
Yeah, like you said, the Cowboys' passing offense is the worst in the league. They're allowing 22 yards more than number 31, which would be Baltimore, who is allowing 266 through 3 games. The Cowboys did allow 298 yards to Caleb fucking Williams, of all people, last week. So the opportunity is there. As far as the red zone is concerned, get there. Just get there. Only 2 trips last week. I want to be back in like the 5 trips to the red zone territory, and I want to see touchdowns on at least 3, if not 4 of those trips to the red zone. I'm not calling for the Packers to win 48-32 like they did in the playoff games a couple of years ago, but seeing the offense get back on track is absolutely what I'm looking for. So, Bryant, what are the injury designations to watch for?
Yeah, so quite a few. Banks, Tom, I don't think either of them will play. Bullard, unfortunately, he's been playing really well, and he got knocked unconscious, so he's in the concussion protocol. I kind of hope they let him sit. I would like him for the game, but I think we can get through without him. That was pretty nasty, looking pretty scary when you see a guy that go that limp. So if they need to give him an extra week, do that. He's been phenomenal with tackling and close to the line of scrimmage. Devontae Wyatt, Matt LaFleur said he was day-to-day, so I'm hoping he'll be good and ready to go this weekend. We do need him. And then, of course, like I've already talked about, Lamb and Booker both are. So they're one cornerback, Bland or whatever, who's decent. I can't say that they have any decent cornerbacks when they're giving up with that much yards, but he's like questionable, but
interceptions.
Yeah, he's trending towards playing. So
you know what's the funniest thing about their corners? Is that they both suck and they both got fucking paid, dude. Jerry's a moron, dude. Thank you for Micah Parsons, by the way. We should have started this section.
Yeah, we should have all gotten thank you, Jerry t-shirts to wear for today.
I thought about legitimately sending him a thank you card.
Dude, you know how
I was going to ask you guys if we could send him a Wisco Fanatics thank you card.
Dude, that's a great idea. Put a Wisco Fanatics stamp on there. That's so good, dude. I love that. Do it after this week when Micah Parsons has like 4 sacks.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, I know this is going to be short, but what's the weather going to be like?
I didn't even write it down. We're in a goddamn dome.
Nah, that's not true. There's a 100% chance of tears from the Dallas fans.
So there will be some precipitation. All right, got it.
I like it.
Ryan, who is your X factor?
Yeah, I went Matt LaFleur. I think he shoulders a lot of blame for this performance this last week, and he needs to light these guys' asses on fire and have his team ready to go down here and play this game. They can't be looking ahead to the bye week. I know some of them might have a plan to have a couple days off or something like that. They cannot be looking ahead to the bye week. And I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to let that happen, nor do I think Micah Parsons is going to let that happen. He's probably killing people in practice starting tomorrow. So I feel like they just need to go in there and, they need to pretend like it's Lambeau South again, like they have in the past. So, but Matt LaFleur is my X factor. After that, to hear him come out yesterday and say, yeah, I think maybe we underestimated the other guys on the line. Like, you can't do this. Is the NFL, dude. You can't underestimate anyone. How many times any given Sunday? Like, you can't do that. So he's got to have him ready to play this week. So Matt LaFleur is my X factor.
So I'm just going to jump in because I also picked a coach, and I picked Jeff Hafley versus a good Cowboys offense. I did write this down before I knew that CD was going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, but it still stands to the point. Schottenheimer has been playing good offense. We can't just completely sweep under the rug that 2 years ago, before his ankle injury, that Dak was an MVP candidate through the first.
He's playing good this year.
He's a decent quarterback. Not great, but he's decent. So I put Jeff Hafley versus a Cowboys good offense. I don't remember if there's anything else I was going to say with that. But the Packers, they've allowed obviously 13 points. They allowed 18 points, and then they allowed 13 points. If they can hold another good offense, not saying Cleveland is a good offense, but they held them to low scoring, but they haven't allowed 20 points at all this season. If they can hold another good offense, that would be 3 out of 4 games that they've held 3 good offenses under 20 points. That would do a lot of good building up the confidence that we've lost this week. Not saying that we collectively, the 3 of us, including Simon, have lost the confidence, but just the fan base in general and just the NFL perception as a whole, I think a little bit of that confidence was shaken because the Packers lost a game that they perceived should not have lost. Yeah. So, Jake, who's your X factor?
I'm just going to piggyback on your Dak Prescott comment real quick. If you switch Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts, how differently are people viewing those 2 quarterbacks? Just saying.
Dak Prescott is better than Jalen Hurts.
Dak Prescott will be considered an MVP candidate every goddamn year behind that offensive line with those weapons.
Dak Prescott on the Eagles would be kind of nasty.
Dude, I would be way more scared of them if they had Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts. Them having Jalen Hurts as the quarterback is the reason I think we could fucking beat them. Yeah. Not even going to lie to you. Anyways, I also have something to do with Matt LaFleur and my X Factor. I have LaFleur/Love consistently feeding Matthew Golden. He leads the NFL in separation. He's got the speed. We have the injuries at wide receiver. Not that I want them, but we have the injuries to force him into a role. People were talking all offseason that this guy's our number one. First couple of weeks, Romeo Dobbs was balling out. Jaden Reed was still making plays. Tucker Kraft had his moment in week 2. I think it's time for Matthew Golden now to have his moment, especially against a freaking Dallas defense that seems to be limping into every game. Like, I think this is the moment because Luther Burden had his moment last week against the Cowboys. I think it's time for Matthew Golden to have
Igbuka's having his moment every week. I'd love Igbuka coming out, but he got drafted before us. But people need to remember, too, that Matthew Golden played in Texas, so he's probably got a little extra motivation. He's probably going to have some family and friends in the stands.
Well, the thing for me that kind of annoyed me last week is they came out right away and they were feeding Golden, and then they just kind of stopped. And I was like, why the hell are we not throwing it to him more? Yeah. Like, he was doing good the first couple of drives. We were moving the ball. Like, let's give it to the guy that's getting open. How about that?
I seriously want to see him on some crosser. I feel like every time we're throwing the ball, it's a throw to lead him out of bounds. Can we get him on damn crosser in the middle of the field and let him just
or a wide receiver screen?
Yeah, something.
And I don't mind the running. I don't mind the running.
Cody, you're getting ahead of me.
Cody said, depending on how Kraft feels, we'll need to look to Golden more. Dallas is the team where Watson came alive. That's fair. All right, let's get into some score predictions. We do 2 every week, 1 from the head, 1 from the heart. Bryant, what's your score prediction from the head?
I put the Packers 28-20.
Hey, all right. I have 27-21, so I'll just block mine right inside there.
I had 28-17, so we're all pretty close.
All right, like we usually are. I mean,
yeah.
A lot of the things I think we do a pretty good level-headed job when it comes to a lot of things. So, going from the heart, the more optimistic, ideal scenario. Bryant, what do you have for a score prediction?
Yeah, I think with CeeDee Lamb's loss and our pass rush that we really should dominate this game, and I feel like we should be able to put a point. So I put 35-17.
So I'm gonna just expand on that just a little bit. I do agree with you. The matchup is ripe for an ideal situation game.
Yeah.
And I think, like, at all things considered, if everything goes perfectly, you're connecting on the deep balls. The defense is legit, which we know it is. I put 36-13.
Ooh. Okay. I put 34-14. I like your little breakdown there, Tyler. That was nicely done.
All right. So no Simon this week to do Simon Says, but I'm sure Brian still has 6 bold predictions for this game. So, Brian, give us your first one.
Yeah, I put that. I mean, we just watched Caleb Williams not quite make it there, but I put that Jordan Love will throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
All right. Justin's score predictions are 28-17 and 31-13. I like both of those. For me, I need a statement. I put Green Bay scores 5 touchdowns, 3 in the air, 2 on the ground.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready for us to crack 30.
Yeah.
There's a quarterback that was benched today that literally was bitch slapping this Dallas Cowboys defense a couple of weeks ago, and he literally is not a starter on his own goddamn team anymore. Jordan Love's thrown for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns this week, and you could book it. Take that to the bank, boys.
I would love that.
I feel like if he gets like an 80 and a 50-yard touchdown, then I feel like he gets there easily. But I feel like he needs 2 really long touchdowns to get to 400.
Yeah. Dude, if he hits like a 65-yard, dude, imagine a 69-yarder to Matthew Golden for his first touchdown. Oh, I would just break out laughing so hard, bro. That would be elite.
Defense. Justin said we see the first craft shaft of the year. I'm so glad that's catching.
Well, we should have seen it because we false started on an easy first down.
Hey. Optimistic, Brian. Relax.
Yeah,
we're letting go of the Browns game.
I love that the craft shaft is catching on. Cody said this is the game to put Morgan at left tackle. If we didn't have Rasheed Walker playing it, if he wasn't the one questionable.
Yeah, I think Rasheed still starts.
Yeah.
Just Reggie said 38-14. I like that too. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball.
Go ahead,
all right, I got 2 here. So Green Bay has struggled to force turnovers. We forced 2 this game. And then my other one is, in feeding into that, Micah Parsons records 2 sacks and a forced fumble.
Hey, I also put Micah needs a bounce back. I put 2 sacks, 1 a fumble.
Nice.
All right, well, I knew we were all going to have one about Micah Parsons. I literally was writing it down, and I was like, oh, because I try to always be like, oh, maybe Brian will do this, or Tyler will do this, or Simon will do this. I'm like, fuck it, dude. We're all going to talk about Micah Parsons because he's going to be what everybody talks about on SportsCenter after the game anyways.
Yeah.
I have Micah Parsons lays his big old dick all over Dallas. 3 sacks, 6 pressures, dude.
I can absolutely see 6 pressures easily.
Dude, it's going to happen.
Dude, Reggie said Parsons flexes over Dak. I just want to see him get his sack and put the 1 up in the air while he's standing over him. That would be tough.
I don't think he wants to disrespect any of the players in Dallas, but I'm telling you, bro, you remember when I really feel like this could happen. You remember when David Bakhtiari was standing there and he gave a big old middle finger to the Bears fans? I could see him doing that to Jerry, bro. I could see him doing that to Jerry after a sack.
Does the 1, except it's the middle finger and not the pointer finger?
Yeah, you are number 1 in my heart. I could see that, dude.
Cody said Parsons fumble recover and he walks towards the Dallas sideline.
That would be funny, bro.
Justin said McKinney has an interception and Nixon has a pick 6. I do feel like Dak Prescott is a guy that can be turned over. Obviously, we've seen it happen. So I think these things are possible. But it's going to should at the very least be a more entertaining game, not like 23 combined points, but like both teams could score over 23 points themselves, which would be a little bit more entertaining as far as the scoring goes. But we will be back next week. I'm pretty sure Simon's going to be back next week. And then next week, no preview. Next week is just going to be just recap because we are already at the week 5 bye next week. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Appreciate all the comments, for sticking around during the whole show.
Real quick, I looked this up. The most sacks by a Dallas player in a single game was 5. Wouldn't that be funny if Micah had like 5.5 sacks?
That would be so funny, dude.
I hope we have some poetic justice type stuff to discuss next Tuesday.
Yeah.
For those of you planning to tune in tomorrow during our Wednesday shows, Justin with a really out-of-pocket comment. No, I'm just kidding. I know what he's talking about. For those of you planning to tune into our Wednesday show tomorrow, we are bumping the show back from 4 to 6 to incorporate the Brewers game. We start at 3 o'clock, so we didn't want to be starting at 4 o'clock while the Brewer game's going on. So we will be starting at 6 o'clock Central Time tomorrow instead of 4 o'clock. So we will see everybody then. And other than that, go Packers, go Bucks, go Brewers, and Badgers.
Go Pack, go.